Hail friends and welcome to the channel. Bob here for another Shroud of the Avatar video. This is going to be a bit of a different one. I'm going to be talking about a topic today. I just wanted to address something. Most people who probably feel this way won't watch this video anyway, but I just wanted to say that I had a couple of messages about videos that I do and like people wanting certain videos, and I record videos for the games I'm currently playing. That's the thing. I know that many of you are here for P99 videos, and they're not finished by any means, but I record videos for the games I'm currently playing and enjoying, and at the moment it's Shroud of the Avatar. Well, when I'm playing some Project Gorgon as well, and I do have another P99 video coming up, another Enchanter one, in a new spot that I haven't recorded before. But yeah, I think it's important to be aware that Shadow of the Avatar videos or Project Gorgon videos are not being recorded instead of P99 stuff. The simple fact of the matter is that I'm just not playing P99 that much. So so even if I didn't put these videos up, there won't be any videos. So it's not like they're taking the place of them. It's just that I'm just not playing much P99, but I will be again. So this video is going to be it's quite a lot of I'm just running to upper tiers, because I'm going to go and do a run through upper tiers for you solo, which I can manage, but there's a couple of topics that I'm generally always interested in on the forums. I don't generally get involved too much unless it's one of these topics, but one of them is content. As you've heard me say before, the ridiculous amount of deco, housing, crafting, fishing content that goes into the game, and almost a complete lack of PvE content, really, other than polishing the. Am I going the right way? I think it's this way. Other than polishing up other than just keep repeatedly polishing up the the new the starter zones. I think I've probably come the wrong way. Did I come the wrong way? I think it's over here. We'll go and check. So it's kind of like new content. And the other thing that the other type of videos is just talking about the gameplay in general, and like the PvE content rather than anything else. And recently there's been quite a lot of, I say quite a lot. There seems to be some people who have issues with things like this is how you get to upper tiers, by the way. I could have teleported there, but sometimes I like just to run across land. I look out for encounters, like Barbarian Encounters got wyverns, so if that's still there when I come out, I might go and see if I can get a wyvern or something. But anyway, getting back to this, but people don't like upper tiers. It was put into the game not that long ago, in relative to the life of the game. And there's a dungeon in here that's like a wave-based dungeon, and it's good for XP. And for some reason, because it's good for XP, some people just don't like it. And you can't try and work out the psychology of it. I'm not sure if it's just that people are afraid that other people are, getting further ahead of them from a leveling point of view, which is quite odd, because it's kind of like, well, I don't want to do upper tiers, but I don't want other people doing it. So they gain loads more XP than me, so we should nerf it. So, and that's not uncommon in MMOs. I do find it a strange attitude, particularly in an MMO like Shroud of the Avatar, where essentially your skill gaining is limitless. Obviously, there are soft caps, where you get to a certain point on a skill or your adventure level, and it takes a lot of XP to then progress those skills. Certainly when you start getting like to 120, 130 in a skill, it can become, not particularly, what do we want? I think I'll probably have to muck, because I've rather than creating new decks, I've been mucking around with my decks. I've just been replacing skills rather than creating new decks for taming, so I might have to just quickly muck around. But I find it psychologically it's quite interesting. I kind of wonder what the people are concerned about. On a recent thread, someone even said it's ruining the game, and you know, and I should have asked them really, but it's quite interesting to find out how it's ruined the game for them, because I just think, like, mechanically and from a gameplay point of view, I can't see where upper tiers is ruining the game. What you get people come here and they'll, if you're in a group, you can just sit in a group, stand in a group in the same place, kill everything quickly and get loads of XP. Now, I mean, you know, I guess you could argue maybe that tame bludgeon. No, that's not what I want. I guess, you know, you could argue that if people are doing this, it means that they're just less people to group with and whatnot. But I don't think, you know, I think that these people may not necessarily be wanting to group with you anyway. You know, it's not. I don't think it's as simple as that. Do I need to change anything here? I do normally chuck down a meteor storm because it kind of helps. I don't think I need to worry about too much else, actually. Yeah, I mean, you could argue that maybe these people will be doing other things that the person complaining about upper tiers may feel is more useful to the game as a whole. But, you know, the thing is that there are people who just want to level quickly, or people who just, I mean, to be honest with you, at the moment, I mean, I know that there's suspicions it's probably likely going to happen that they're going to nerf the experience in upper tiers, and that's the kind of thing that, to be honest with you, would stop me playing. You know, because the thing I'm enjoying about the game at the moment is the taming, but also working on other skills, you know, grinding XP to raise skills, to raise taming. And if you make that hard for me, I'm just going to stop playing. You know, that is the reality of it. And I'll just go and play Project Gorgon. You know, it's but as I said, it's weird in a game where the developers have just basically said, away you go, just put, you know, you can just gain as much experience as you want and put it in as many skills as you want. That they feel that they need to, you know, slow people down in some way. You know, the way of keeping people's experience and skill gain in check would have been to have an Ultima Online style skill cap. You know, that would have been the sensible way to do it. But when you've said to people, go ahead, do what you like, and then later on for some reason you don't like it, so then you're trying to stop them doing that, well, it feels a bit contradictory. It's a bit like the death penalty in Shroud of the Avatar. Death penalty in Shroud of the Avatar is an absolute waste of time. Because it's meaningless, really. You know, in Project 1999, in classic EverQuest, when you died, you lost experience, you lost your corpse. You know, you had to actually go and get your corpse to get your equipment back before you could. So that's a proper death penalty. But that was more of a traditional MMO, I feel. Whereas Shroud of the Avatar, to me, certainly the PvE side of it is more like an action RPG, like Diablo. And it's also a game where you can just gain as much XP and skills as you like. So just setting penalties for trying to arbitrarily slow people down just seems like a pointless task. But I should have asked, actually. I would have been really interested in what the person who said that UT had ruined the game. I'm interested to see what the reasoning for that was. Particularly when you see so many other things in the game that need addressing. You know, nerfing experience in one of the few places where people like myself are kind of feeling that I'm making progress with my character. Because the other thing to remember as well is that after a certain point, your adventure level and your skills take a lot of experience to gain. I'm not sure exactly how much it takes, but if I wanted to take Tame Creature from 120 to 130, that's a lot of experience. That's a lot of UT runs. That's not just like, you know, that's not just one run and I've got 10 skill points in Tame Creature. That's a lot of running. Yeah, so it's weird. As I said, I can maybe because people feel that everyone's just sitting in UT, not doing much, not experiencing the game. That's their choice. You know, if they want to do that, they should be allowed to do that. And I think people complaining and then developers deciding to, nerf things is just not the way forward. You know, the way forward at the moment. I've been doing a lot of exploring recently. When I've been playing to look for tames and stuff, and the amount of scenes I go into that are literally pointless. You know, you could remove the scenes, you could remove a large percentage of the scenes from the game and they wouldn't be missed because there is just nothing to do in them. You know, so I can't believe I'm still going in some and they're still repeated. You know, there's a section I went to, I can't remember where it was on the map, but I went into 2 or 3 scenes quite close to each other and they were all the same map. and it's just, you know, that's the sort of thing that needs to be addressed. Create more places for people to go and earn XP. You know, don't nerf one place because you don't like it. Just create a place that is the equivalent, but maybe it's a bit more interesting. Maybe it's got other gameplay mechanics. You know, I think that's personally, I think, the thing to do. So this will probably be split into 2 videos. I'll just do an upper tiers run, hopefully, and not die. You know, it's quite possible. But I'll do an upper tiers run, and I'll show you how my adventure level is currently 113, so it gives you some sort of idea of how things, you know, what my level is. Yeah, but I'll run through upper tiers, and then I'll take you to what I was going to do. I've mapped out the first 2 levels of the new dungeon that they've introduced, and there's a couple of nice spots in there for XP, so I'll take you there as well, where the XP is actually better. And if you're a fire mage, it's actually easier, I find, than upper tiers to solo. But yeah, but again, I'm not saying that area should be nerfed. Maybe change the mechanics so they're a bit more interesting. But you know, I think, sorry, there's no gameplay in this video. It's all chat. But this video was meant to be a chat video. So yeah, but I think that I don't think that new content should be geared towards the 1% of players who need a challenge. But I also don't think that you should nerf. I also don't think you should nerf the high level areas that are currently in the game that people can solo for XP. Yeah, just because there are certain players who feel they're being left behind or whatever. You're not really being left behind. You know, it's not that type of game. I don't think. You know, it doesn't mean you can't group with me because you might be AL 80 and I'm 120. It doesn't really affect it in any way. But anyway, let's do an upper tiers run. Upper tiers run is wave based, as I said. I'm AL 113 currently. I need to eat some food actually. Now I want to say that, you know, I'm an experienced player, but my character is still very much a character that's in progression. You know, I enjoy upper tiers. I enjoy soloing it. I do die occasionally. You know, it's not, and I do find the last wave takes me quite some time, just because I think because of my level and maybe because of my fire affinity. Yeah, the mobs just take a lot of damage essentially. It takes me a long time to kill the last wave, but here we go. We'll see how we go. You can make your own judgments. I might just, as I said, sorry, I've been mucking around with my skills, so I might just get out a water ellie pet, just for fun, for a bit of extra healing, bit of extra aggro. What I should do actually, I could summon a pet, because I've never used a pet in here. I think the pet will die quickly though. So certainly the level of the pets that I've got at the moment. So I think I'll probably just avoid that for now. But this is the sort of gameplay I enjoy. You know, I enjoy coming here, working on some XP, and then going and using that XP to better my character. That's what I'm really enjoying at the moment. And obviously at the moment, taming is where I'm putting my XP. And I just feel that, you know, I'm not saying, oh, you know, threatening, if you do this, I'm going to go. But this is you know, UT and now 1 or 2 areas in Tartarus are one of the reasons I'm still playing the game. You know, it's to gain skills at my level, and to gain adventure level, which is still important in my experience, even though you may think it's not. You know, is quite difficult. It's quite difficult to gain skills, and if you make it harder more grindy for me than it currently is, then I'm just going to go and play Project Gorgon. That's the reality, basically. So it's wave based. It starts off with these barbarians in the centre. It's weird. I think they changed it up recently, where it's a bit random. So sometimes these mobs will they'll spawn again. I should have moved myself back here. No. So sometimes you'll get. So occasionally I've had like 2 or 3 spawns of the barbarians. So I'm not sure if it's a random thing or if it's related to how quickly you kill them. But I normally just chuck I'm sure I'm not doing it particularly effectively. But as a solo player, I will just chuck down my area effects, and then move around. Yeah, just keep moving around, healing myself. Old fire elemental there is dying. So yeah, so I mean, a lot of the complaints with this kind of thing is OP and there's too much experience and stuff. But I mean, I've had to work hard to get my character to this point where I can do this. It's not like I turned up, you know. I think one of the other complaints I've heard is that people, you know, there's a feeling that oh, that's quite good. There's a feeling that there's new players coming into the game. I've seen people just wipe through this really quickly and then they'll go and loot all the mobs at the end, but I kind of loot the mobs as I go, which makes it a bit slower. I think there's, yeah, what I try and do tactically is leave this mob up here alive. It's just so that I can go around and loot, kill him off, then wait for the next wave. All of the next waves normally spawn at the same points, basically, and they're all undead. So, oh yeah, what I normally have up actually is Banished Undead, but I'm not too bothered about that. I'll start casting the next Ring of Fire. Well, no, I won't do that because I've pulled him back too far. I think he's probably going to die fairly quickly. Fire magic is great for killing lots of low-level mobs. As I said, you know, you might find this OP, but these current waves of mobs are quite a lower. You know, it's my AL really that's doing a lot of the donkey work here. Okay, I think I might have pulled the back archer. Is he up there? I can't really see him. But as I said, I mean, I've had to put quite a lot of time into my character to get to this point. I think, as I was saying before, I think one of the concerns people have is that you've got new players. Archers are a nightmare. You know, I still occasionally die. If I get like an alpha strike from some archers, things can still go pretty badly. Yeah, like new players coming in and just you know, just being leveled up really quickly and whatnot. But again, I don't really have a problem with that. It doesn't really affect my gameplay at all. And I understand I'm a solo player, but I think even if I wasn't a solo player, a new player coming in and artificially being leveled is just, I just don't think that, you know, I don't really see the difference I don't see what difference it makes to me, really. Yeah, I struggle. I've thought about it logically, and as someone who has worked on game design and stuff, you know, I've tried to put that head on. But yeah, I just can't really. Sometimes you get like a little. Well, one of the ways you get a little mage, skeleton mage. There we go, which is quite nice. I should be using fireball more. I did put it on my bar to use it more, but I just haven't really got around to it. Ouch. Oh, okay. the guys have decided to come up on their own. Now, poor Bob does draw a lot of aggro. Is he dead? Are you dead, Bob? He's dead. Yeah, he does draw a lot of aggro actually. Bless him. I'm not quite sure why. They just seem to go straight for him. I think I might have killed everything on this wave. What I should have done is just to see how much experience I get for a wave. That would have been quite interesting. That would have been the mathematical thing to do. But I think my point was really about just the desire that just seems to be just to nerf things when, and as I said, I'm not sure if it's when people feel that there's just people, you know, progressing beyond them too far or whatever it may be. Yeah, so it's a tricky little fight. Keep myself alive there. Yeah, so I can still die. As I said, I'm not. You know, there are some super duper guys out there who are, you know, crazy ALs and will just wipe through this. I've even seen that's the third mage that we've had. So yeah, so interesting. there is a randomness to how the waves, because before what you would get is just one wave basically. So you would get the one wave of this and one wave of the next one, etc. So yeah, I think we'll probably start getting the liches shortly. The liches are actually easier than the skeletons, I find, apart from the last wave where everything goes pretty crazy. Oh, okay, no, I thought we'd killed them, but we hadn't. It's quite good. It kind of gives me a time to maybe loot some of these. I'm still not sure how long corpses stay in the game for you to loot. I probably should know that, but I just don't. What we got? So here's a lich. I can't be bothered to charge that up. I've seen a couple of fire mages who really take great advantage of the. They're really good at stacking glyphs themselves. I've tried it, but I'm just not. You know, I'm 48. I'm sick, so I'm just not as dexterous as I used to be. It's more kind of just trying to get yourself into the. It's more about getting the muscle memory going, really, and I just haven't managed that. But charging up, I mean, charging up is fine for me. I don't have any problems with that, and I can manage most of what I want to manage, so it's fine. The other thing about fire, I think, to bear in mind, if you think it looks a bit overpowered, is that it's not very good for it's not very good for everything. You know, so there are quite a lot of mobs that are fire resistant. I've come across some mobs where they just regenerate very quickly, you know, and yeah, they regenerate beyond your ability to my fire's ability anyway to do the damage required. Okay. The other thing, of course, here is the disappointing loot. You know, occasionally you'll find an artifact. But that's something, that's again a problem that the game has got in general. Just my opinion, you know. I know that a lot of the people still playing the game probably came here because of the fact that player run economy. You know, player equipment is the best equipment, but you know, it's not really my thing. I think it kind of defeats the object of a role-playing game in some aspects. You know, I think that even going back as far as D&D and the early role-playing games, I think one of the whole points of a role-playing game is you go out with your friends to a dungeon, you kill the bad guy, and you get the loot. You know, there is certainly a lot less of that here. And I thought I'd killed the skeleton at the top, but it would appear not. And I personally know some people who have stopped playing the game because of that. You know, it doesn't have that group of friends, go to dungeon, kill boss, get loot, gameplay loop that, you know, that a lot of them have. Well, I can see that, you know, some people may say, well, the game should be applauded for that. You know, if you remove one of the key gameplay loops of a role-playing game, going back even as far as Dungeons and Dragons, then you know you're gonna you're gonna be niche. You're possibly too niche. Yeah, I generally have less problems with these liches actually than the skeletons. Skeletons seem to hit harder. I think there's one lich left at the top there. Looks like. Yeah, so I enjoy this. You know, I enjoy this gameplay loop. I'm enjoying my current gameplay loop, I should say, where I come and get some XP, then I'll go and do something else, and use that XP. You know, it's a loop that I enjoy, and I just feel that from what I've heard recently, that it's just something that they're going to change, or you know, nerf. Maybe there'll be less XP here. I would rather they just maybe change the mechanics here, made them a bit more interesting. You know, I wouldn't like it to be too much harder, you know, because as I said, it's a gameplay loop I'm enjoying, and because I play on my own mostly, if it was removed, I would just stop playing the game, you know, which is Yeah, but hopefully it's nothing that drastic. I don't think that the XP is a problem here. I just don't think so. I don't think there's anything really that affects my enjoyment of the game. Now I'm not sure if we'll get there. No, we've got another round of the. Are these the slightly? I think these are the same round of liches. So slightly. I think the next round will probably be the tough ones, and that's the one that gives me that gives me trouble. Well, what I've also liked about upper tiers is that it's kind of I mean, I know that recently, well, a little while ago they were talking about how AL doesn't really make any difference anymore, but it actually does, because my fire skills are pretty similar to what they were when I first came here. But what's been quite good about upper tiers is that I've seen my character evolve. So when I first come here, you know, I would die on the skeleton waves, and then it got to a point where that all became easy. I couldn't do the lich wave, the last one. I keep a dry cutting board. Why has a lich got a cutting board? That's a question that we need to ask ourselves. And then it got to a point where I could then manage the the final wave. So it's been great. I've enjoyed it from that point of view as well, because it's shown me the progress of my character. You know, it's shown my power increasing, which is what some people enjoy. It's not. Some people seem to think that as power gaming or whatever, being at the top of the tree is a dirty thing. I don't quite understand that. Yeah. But yeah, as I said, I mean, like, upper tiers has also been quite a good barometer for my, for the power of my character. It shows me where I'm at, and I've seen him progress from a power point of view. But a lot of that power has come from adventure level. So in my experience, adventure level still makes a huge difference. Okay, so if this is the final wave, it's not. No, not the final wave. Okay. This is a new wave, slightly higher, slightly harder. So you can see that these liches have slightly more hit points, so they're slightly higher level. If I could just get, as long as I get them all dotted up, it's fine. There is one at the back there, which is quite handy. I don't want to pull that guy, I don't think, if I can help it. Keep forgetting to put on that. Yeah, what I do for a second video is I will, I'll show you my work on my Tartarus map, which I've quite enjoyed. I think I now have pulled the final lich, so archer. So they're all archers, are they? Okay. But there is still, I mean, I think one of the things is that people look at gameplay like this, what I'm doing, and they just think, well, that's just ridiculously overpowered. But as I said before, I've had to progress to this point. I just think it's one of the most important things. I think also what's quite important is that is building your deck. You know, I've also had to spend time building my deck to a point where it's kind of doing what I want it to do. So this is the wave that is this is the last wave, and it's the hardest wave for me anyway. The mobs take significantly less damage from my dots, but they're a higher level, so there you go. That is to be expected. And this is the wave where I would die fairly quickly before. Now what I find is I need to use judicious use of the cover. Basically, I try and get my dots on and then run around and just try to exploit the pathing of the mobs. The mages do a ton of damage if they hit you. If they hit you with a good fireball, yeah, it's pretty frightening. I think, yeah, so going back to the upper tiers problem, I think one of the issues that I've gained a couple of ALs actually since I came here last, and these mobs are dying much quicker than they were before. So again, that's something that says to me that adventure level still makes a big difference, because this is easier than it was for me before. and I would probably say that I've gained 3 or 4 adventure levels since I came here last. Yeah, these guys are dying much quicker. It would take me many minutes to, particularly the mages, to get to take down. I'm still taking a fair amount of damage myself. So I will, yeah, but the other thing, as I was saying, it's also about building your deck. You know, it's also about the time spent in improving your character, building your deck. You get to a point where you can achieve something and then they change it. You know, I just don't really see what the point of that is. You know, why that is a thing. And as I said, you know, and it just seems to be because people are just not happy with other people doing something. That seems to be the case. It's, I like to keep my immolation dot on. Immolation makes a huge difference. That extra affinity, fire affinity, does really help. What I'm not using much of, what I should be doing, is Fireball, because I've never really used Fireball before because it's so slow to charge. But I have noticed that when you hit with it, yeah, it hits hard. Let's give it a go. Oh. I'm not sure. Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. There we go. Yeah, as I was saying, you know, it's I keep repeating myself because I should write down things I want to discuss in videos, but then it wouldn't be me really. I wouldn't be rambling so much, which probably really annoys people. But there you go. You'll get loads of lich essences here as well if you're that way inclined. So this has been Upper Tiers. I have got one more lich to kill. Yeah, and this is something that I did for quite a long time. It was a challenge starting off here. I think I started off here, I was AL quite low, like in the 80s maybe. And I worked my way through, earned my stripes, I feel. What I was going to say, I think one of the issues that, oh, there's still two left. Okay, I think the only issue that I've heard from people that I think is a fair comment in regards to here is that people, you shouldn't be able to just stand around. So I think what happens is you get people can just stand around basically in a group, not really having to do anything, move or interact too much and get XP. So what I would maybe like to see is, depending on how many people are here, maybe the difficulty is scaled upwards, so it's harder. Keep it like this for me. Maybe make it a bit harder. You know, I think I'm at that point where I could probably do, you know, harder Upper Tiers, if as it were. But maybe just change the mechanics so people can't stand around. You know, maybe if there's a certain place where people just stand. You know, maybe if they're there for too long, they're standing in one place for too long, 30 seconds or a minute. You know, maybe I don't know. Maybe a high level undead or lich turns up, and yeah, and just puts a massive ring of fire in place of where they were standing, which does a lot of damage, and they can't just stand in one place. I think that's it. Yeah, and then you can wait for it to spawn and start again, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah, as I said, maybe scale it. Maybe scale it so that the encounters are harder. Maybe if the group is, maybe the more people you get in a group, the higher level the mobs become. Maybe it spawns more archers that are more aggressive, because the archers are, I find, one of the hardest things. But just don't nerf it. You know, don't nerf it. Don't nerf the experience. Just think of ways to make it more challenging. And I know it's easier just to nerf it. It doesn't require any input, but that's the problem with the game at the moment. The game needs more input on this sort of content and less input on crafting and housing and hats and decos and whatever. But yeah, that's just my opinion. This has been Upper Tiers. Next video will probably be a Tartarus video where I will show you the new dungeon, which, you know, they are working on new content, but yeah. But I'll show you that dungeon. I've kind of mapped it out just for something some old school enjoyment. Yeah, and I'll show you a spot there that's could be quite interesting actually, and more challenging than it is if they tweaked a few things. But we'll yeah, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon.